Welcome to another edition of Living in Shelby Township.
This is Deshawn Lake, and I'm Kelly Casuta, your host. And today we're here at Jimmy John's Field. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this edition. And now I'm sitting here with the CEO and Commissioner of Jimmy John's Field, Andy Appleby. Andy, thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
And tonight is Shelby Township Night. How important is these community nights to Jimmy John's Field and the organization as a whole?
They're very, very important to us. We, especially communities like Shelby that are really our neighbors here and such great supporters. We have so many of our fans from all around the Shelby area, so it's wonderful to have them here.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. And these theme nights are so much fun. You always seem to have Lego night, cowboy night. They always just seem to have a good time.
We do. I bet we have more promotions probably than any other minor league park in America.
Oh, absolutely. I believe it. Those programs are thick. Something I love that we're now heading on year 3, and this organization seems to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, it's interesting. If anyone was fortunate enough to be here that very first game 2.5 years ago, it was a wonderful place. But I have to say that I don't exaggerate when I say that we've improved this ballpark every single day since then, and that includes the winter months as well. So it is a wonderful place, and the more time that's gone by, the more I've had a chance, and we've had a chance to improve it, and it is just a spectacular venue.
Yeah, and I remember when this field was being built, and everyone said, you know, year 1 it'll be a novelty, they won't see anybody come year 2. I have to argue the attendance was even bigger on year 2 and now year 3. What keeps people coming back?
Well, I think the thing that not only are we consistently making it a better and better and better experience without raising the prices, I might add, but we also realize that in this day and age, we have to build this one family at a time and one game at a time. So we really treat every game like the World Series, and not just myself, but our whole staff. And that was really the vision in the first place, was to create the cleanest ballpark in America, the safest ballpark in America, and also triple the level of service. And again, I can't imagine any park in America that rivals what we have here.
Yeah. So what's on tap then for year 4? I mean, we're just nearing the end of baseball season. So what are the things that you're looking forward to the most come year 4?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We're looking at doing some other capital improvements here, potentially putting on a deck in right field, which will be fantastic. We're looking at building additional ballparks, and why that makes a difference here is that you know, we'll be a little more of a conventional league when that happens. So we would have, we're hoping to be up to 9 or 10 different ballparks, and all with maybe a template of what we have here. But I have to say, I don't think there'll ever be a ballpark quite like this one, because this has every bell and whistle that you can think of.
Yeah. Does that mean you're coming to Shelby Township? Is that in the talks?
No, just in the sense that it's a little close.
Yeah.
But
maybe a little bit further, spread out a little bit
but maybe
more.
Further west in Michigan, and of course we're looking at other cities throughout the Midwest. And for the model we have, which is very efficient but yet boutique in quality and just about the perfect size, there are lots and lots of communities, particularly in the Midwest, that would love to have a ballpark just like this.
Oh, absolutely. And there's got to be this huge talk among your people here and also in Michigan about how many players you're sending to the major leagues and the higher ups.
Right.
I mean, what number is that at yet?
So I have been fortunate to have done this interview with Shelby TV the last few years, and if you go back to the tape of the first year, a couple of years back, I was hoping for 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
And we just signed our 25th player which
Wow.
is really incredible. And the best part about that is, of those 25 players, virtually none of those young men would even be playing baseball today without the advent of the USPBL and Jimmy John's Field. So many other great positives have come from this park. We've been able to help over 1,000 charities just this year alone. They leverage the ballpark in whatever way, auctions and various things that they do. And that has been incredible. We started a reading program 2 years ago, and we had 50,000 kids in the reading program. We're hoping to get that up to 100,000 in the not too distant future. We've created 500 jobs, and many of our jobs, the people reside in Shelby or Utica. We've got teachers here and high school kids and college kids. So we've made a really great impact on the community.
This has definitely become a staple here in this area and now in Michigan.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like home when you walk in. Everyone's so happy and just here for the game.
Exactly.
It's definitely become a home.
It has, and you know, we've been continuing to build it. So we have, believe it or not, we'll have 1,100 company picnics here this year, which is pretty amazing. Our 26 suites are essentially sold for the whole year, our 24 diamond tables. So now, I don't want to give anyone the impression that that's not hard work and they don't just come to us, but you know, my background at the Palace, I was able to, you know, really almost secure a PhD in sports management and marketing. And one of the things we always knew was that, you know, you have to really get out there and sell your product and promote it and market it. And so even though our season is just coming to an end in 2 weeks from tomorrow, you know, we'll be back shortly after that, renewing all of our signage and tickets and suites. And that type of thought process is not, you know, completely unique, but it might be a little more unique to something like this.
Yeah, and you're spending the winters creating bigger and better ideas and doing more. Because I always wonder, what do you do in the winter months?
Oh yeah, well, so we have 400 premium accounts. So we don't service our accounts just in our 4-month, 75-game season. We service 365 days a year. So we're always doing things to bring those partners together and create additional value. And then on top of it, you know, we have to get our season ready for next year, all the promotions. And 75 games is, you know, quite a lot of events, if you will. And when you think of 1,100 company picnics, for instance, over 75 games, you know, you can do the math. That's a lot of picnics. Only 75 days to do it. Yeah.
And are there any more? I have to ask this because I love the mascots.
Yeah.
Are we thinking of any more teams
Oh
adding
yeah.
to
So
the mix?
when we do our next ballpark,
Okay.
we'll have at least one, potentially 2 more teams.
So we've got at least another year.
Yeah, so we'll have one more year, because I don't think even if a group's, a town or a city said yes today, we couldn't probably build it by next May. But we're in great shape to have it built for 2020.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been to a game, you got to come down. I mean, this is an experience unlike any other.
Well, it's so interesting. Wherever I go to speak, still only about 20 or 30% of the audience has actually been to a game, which is flabbergasting to me, because people sometimes don't realize that this is the nicest and most successful ballpark in America, and they live 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
And so it's just our job to continue to get all the first timers here, and you know, fortunately they always come back, but we've got to get them there that first time.
Yeah, I mean, but let's face it, the prices are cheaper than a major league game.
Way
the
cheaper.
Parking is way easier.
Yep.
It's just a short little jaunt down the street.
Yep.
And it's a good time.
It is. It's a great time. The baseball's great. We've had 5 or 6 pitchers throw 100 miles an hour in the last 3 years. Also, one pitcher, Chris Dula of the Unicorns, topped out at 102 miles an hour 3 weeks ago, which is our all-time record. So people are always amazed and shocked when they come and see just how great the baseball is. And I have to also say that if people knew what I knew about these players, they'd hang on every pitch because there's so many stories to tell. And
Yeah.
one thing that I would want to really promote to the citizens of Shelby that are watching this is in 2 weeks we have our championship weekend, and this is some of the best baseball because a lot of the players are, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of the players are facing the end of their careers, and it's the last pitch they throw or their last at bat, and they're all trying to win the championship ring. And so it's pretty remarkable. It's almost like reality TV times reality TV times 100 here, but not in a Dance Moms or Kardashian way, but in a real way. You know?
Yeah, and the games go by much quicker now.
They do.
They do.
So we have a time limit that we very rarely actually have to impose because the players are have a little more pickup in their step now with the time limit. And so almost never do we have to actually end the game. Almost all games get over in 9 innings, but about the 2 hour and 45 mark, you know, we don't hesitate to even end the game at that point.
I mean, and that made national headlines.
It did, it did. Well, and the thing is that there's a delicate balance here with baseball and the purity of it, but at the same time, nothing pains me more than to see a family leaving because it got too late and their kids couldn't see fireworks or they couldn't run the bases. Yeah. And that's very painful to see that. And because, as you may or may not know, we set the world record for kids running the bases every night.
Yes,
and so it's such a great experience for them, and they're so happy and they leave happy.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to stay for a game. I'm getting ready to watch. The band is starting, if you can hear it in the background. Yep. The marching band is going. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, fantastic. Great job. Thank you.
Humans have been gathering around fires, sharing stories for centuries. It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire.
Oh my gosh, bear!
Wait just a minute. Is that the Smokey Bear?
He scared us.
How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? Precisely. The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally the true test. Feeling if the ashes are cool. It looks like they are. Bravo.
Wait, do you mind if we could just...
Ah yes,
really quick?
the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe. But not so much by Smokey Bear.
Just 1 second, Smokey. Wait.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
While you're here at Jimmy John's Field, you'll probably see Buzz the Beaver and Ribby the Frog dancing in the stands. But you'll also see Wooly the Mammoth and Lancelot the Unicorn cheering on their team so they can pull ahead. Now, we talked with Megan from the Shelby Township Nature Center, and she gives us some real information on their real-world counterparts. So sit down and enjoy your favorite mascots.
Hi, my name is Megan Schildberg from the Burgess Shadbush Nature Center, and I today am reaching out to you from the Jimmy John's Stadium, and we are here to talk about our animal mascots. So we're gonna do a quick creature feature, if you will, on all of our mascots today, so we can learn a little bit more about them and why they make such awesome baseball mascots. So first, we will talk about Ribby the Frog. Now, frogs are really, really sweet when it comes to physical abilities. Some frogs, most frogs, can jump at least 20 times their body length. That's a pretty average number for them. So some can jump a little bit lower than that, some can jump way farther than that, but 20 times is quite average for them. So that's a pretty long jump for a guy like Ribby. That's pretty awesome. We also have the amazing Lancelot the Unicorn. Now, some of you know unicorns are considered mythical beasts, and they're also the national animal of Scotland. So the reason that Scotland has adopted such an awesome animal as their national animal is that they stand for nobility, and they stand for purity, and they stand for strength. They are said to be stronger than an elephant. So watch out, Wooly. It's definitely some competition here. So we also have Buzz the Beaver. Now, Michigan does have beavers. It's Michigan's largest rodent, and a lot of people know them because they have a tendency to chew on our trees, right? So not only do they have those strong mouth muscles for chewing, but they're also pretty strong physically, and they can weigh sometimes up to 60 pounds, which is really big for a rodent. And they also have a crazy awesome predator defense. When they want to intimidate someone else, they use their really big flat tails and they slap it against the ground, and it makes this big booming effect. If you ever see Buzz flapping his tail on the ground, it's pretty intimidating. And last but certainly not least, we definitely have Woolly the mammoth. Now, woolly mammoths used to be found in Michigan. It's a little warm for them now, but we've still got Woolly here. Mammoths are the closest relatives to our present-day elephants, and they are super strong, so obviously that makes them pretty intimidating as an athletic competitor. But they also have the great ability to survive really cold weather. So they have really long fur that keeps them really warm. Sometimes their fur can be as long as 3 feet. So I'm guessing that Woolly has pretty recently had a haircut, but you know, if he let it all grow out, it'd be a pretty long hairstyle.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Some baseball players will travel from far and wide to make their baseball dreams come true. And that's the case for Devin Alexander. He's originally from Concord, California, a city just outside San Francisco. Our Stacey Santatera sits down with him to get his impression on what it's like to play ball right here in Metro Detroit.
Great community, great place to be, great place to play baseball, and just overall awesome community.
Devin Alexander is a pitcher for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. It has been Devin's lifelong dream to play professional baseball, and he is grateful to be embraced by this community.
I love just coming out here and playing for like the community. The community is awesome here. And just playing in front of the fans and going and interacting with all the kids who are just super excited to be here is awesome, and they always want your autographs, and being able to sign autographs for people is something that, you know, is a really cool feeling. And, you know, talking to their parents and just having a good time playing out here is real great. Home or away? Home, I think.
And in Devin's second season with the United Shore Baseball League, there is something else that feels great and even brings feelings of home, as Devin lives with a host family in Washington Township.
It was a little bit different because I'd never really had a host family before. When I came out here last year, I was in the apartment, so it was just me and 3 other baseball players. But it's really helpful financially because we don't have to pay rent.
And now that Devin has spent time in the area, we asked about the most obvious differences between his hometown in California and Macomb County.
To be honest, it's not super different. The main thing would be probably dealing with the weather, because it's not muggy at all in California. It's basically dry heat, and coming out here having to deal with humidity is kind of a little bit different and tough to get used to, I guess. It kind of saps your energy a little more. I feel like I have to not maybe expend as much energy warming up because I know I have to save that for the game.
Believe me, Devin, we hear you about that humidity, but fear not. One does not simply predict Michigan weather, and it's a given it could completely change in 5 minutes. And speaking of change, there is one thing that Devin misses most from home.
In and out, 100% in and out. I mean, other than not having in and out, it's pretty much the same, but yeah. Not having those burgers is a real heartbreak.
And through the heartbreak of missing his favorite burger, Devin stays positive by simply living his dream.
Just the opportunity to play professional baseball, it's always been a lifelong dream of mine. And this league and Skip Paul-Nochi just gave me the opportunity to prove I can play professionally, and it's been awesome.
That's really nasty.
For Living, I'm Stacey Santatera.
Metro Detroit fosters a lot of baseball talent, from the Little League team in Grosse Pointe to all the players right here at Jimmy John's Field. Now let's send it over to Kyle Warsbach, who's talking to one of our own homegrown talents, Macomb County's Patrick Adams.
I'm joined alongside Pat Adams, the outfielder for Eastside Diamond Hoppers of the USPBL. Pat, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
And Pat's from Warren, just like me, so this is really cool for both of us. And Pat, you went to De La Salle. They've had some really successful teams in the recent years. What was your experience like at De La Salle?
It was good. Overall, good experience. I love the coaching staff. They recently just got new coaches, but both of them are great, so it was all in all pretty good.
And you continued on at college at Macomb and Wayne State. How did those two schools help you grow as an athlete?
Macomb was super beneficial for me just because they gave me an opportunity to play right away, and it was kind of just an opportunity to develop, getting those reps, and so that was good. And then moving on to Wayne State, super close to home, and it was good, really good experience.
And this past year you get signed by the USPBL. How special is that for you to continue this on the next level of baseball still in your area that you grew up in?
Yeah, no, that's it was super special for me to just continue playing baseball, and then being right in the backyard is awesome too. I went to a game the first year that this field opened, and just because it was so close, and I never really imagined getting the chance to play, but it's been awesome so far.
What's your favorite thing so far about the USPBL?
I'd have to say just getting another opportunity to play in front of the fans. That's pretty cool, because when you play at Macomb or Wayne State, you're not used to super huge crowds, so it's pretty impressive the number of fans that they draw.
And exposure for scouts too, that's important as well.
Yeah, definitely. That I've seen them around a few times, so it's good.
And I know baseball runs in your family with your dad having some success. Tell me about him and how he's influenced you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where, he kind of instilled a love for baseball in me, and just kind of always, he never coached me, but he was always kind of my personal hitting coach. I always go for him for advice, and so he's helped me out throughout the years, so it's been good.
Baseball, obviously you probably want to continue on, but what's your other love that you've been studying at Wayne State?
Well, I'm a journalism major at Wayne State, and it's kind of, not that I'm so set on being a journalist, but it's just it's kind of one of those things where I'm doing it just to kind of get the degree, and then we'll see what happens from there. But right now I'm kind of just focusing on baseball and seeing where that takes me. So yeah.
All right. Well, Pat Adams, outfielder for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Pat, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks.
Right. I'm Kyle Warsbach for living in Shelby Township.
From California to North Carolina, St. Louis to Texas, players come from all over to swing for the fences right here in downtown Utica. That's why the USPBL has a host family program. April Morin sits down with one of those families to talk about what it's like to not only have the player live in their home, but to support them right here.
That's right, Kelly. So I spoke with a local family that took a player out of the dugout right into their home and right into their hearts.
Yeah.
He's like the son I didn't have. And all the neighbors, too, have taken him under their wing as well. They're enjoying coming over and meeting him, and we have our social time on the patios.
That's Jan and Daryl Seelinger talking about Griffin Nora of the Utica Unicorns. Originally from Kentucky, Griffin has been staying in Macomb County with the Seelinger since March, and they were very excited to welcome him into their home.
It's exciting having someone knowing that you can pay it forward and help a young man achieve what we hope is something great for him.
And greatness is something Griffin hopes to achieve every time he hits the field. Daryl says if he goes off to the big leagues, the feeling will be, well, bittersweet.
As Jan mentioned, would be able to have that opportunity to move on and move up. It would be bittersweet, but it's what we're doing for the sake of, as she mentioned, a hand up, not a handout.
And giving a hand up is very rewarding to Jan and Daryl, whose own children have moved out. So having Griffin around gives them a sense of parental purpose.
Brings a different level to watching the games. I'm out there pacing just as much when he's up to bat or out there catching the ball and feeling like he's, like I said, a son I didn't have, and you're pulling for him.
Griffin will be leaving soon, and it sounds like there will be plenty tears.
Oh, you get really attached.
Emotionally attached.
They get into your heart, let me tell you.
Yeah.
We've been very blessed. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding experience.
And we know the league for next year, they need more families.
For Living in Shelby Township, I'm April Morton.
And that's all for this edition of Living in Shelby Township. Thanks so much for watching our show here at Jimmy John's Field. I'm gonna go catch the game.